Welcome back to Conjuror. I'm Lost One, and today we'll be looking at a deck I made yesterday called Rare Plus. So we'll have a look at this. Basically, the only non-rare plus card in it is God Supports Me, but then we've also got Power Surge, the newer card Soul Eater, with its awesome ability to increase your mana pool every time it kills another card. Fire and Sword, Lilith, Thorn Shield, another one of the new cards that deals 1 damage to creatures that attack the player directly. Hammer of Thor, Lord Victus, and Dravron. Let's chuck it into a match. So we're up against a rat deck straight away. It'll be an interesting test to see just how well this deck goes against a rat deck. So the common trend at the moment is for people to play rats. Again, unfortunately, they were a big problem. However, they sort of went out of style for a while, and now they're back with people just running power surges and boss rats. And as you can see, very limited card decks. So this will be a big challenge for this deck to see exactly how well it goes against rats. By the looks of things so far, it might go quite nicely against them actually, because no rat can actually attack a Lilith without dying. And sure, they can, say, kill it off and then attack through for 3 damage with the boss rat. However, it will severely hamper their efforts, especially when I start using their rats against them. And if I draw a Fire and Sword, that will also help a lot. So I'm trying to decide whether or not to play a Victus or another Lilith. So if I play Victus, I'll be able to get my Lilith back. However, if I play Lilith, I can get a Dravron next turn. So what I'll do is I'll play my Lilith. I'll buy 1, I'll attack the rat that's not blocked. So I could have attacked this one, however, that allows this pack rat to kill this Lilith. So next turn we'll play our Dravron, and that should severely weaken any chances their deck has of actually overwhelming this one. Alternately, I could play 2 Thorn Shields or a Pack Rat and Lord Victus. So maybe I will play I could drop a whole heap of rats and basically counter their rats with my rats. Yeah, I'll do that. And I'll buy a mana, and then that basically means that their rats are going to die no matter what happens. Hopefully I'll draw a fire and sword soon. I've got enough of them in the stack. And fire and sword will severely mess up their plan, especially when you notice I've got one card left in their deck. So they're going to kill off my rats with their rats. But that's fine because I've weakened their rat play already. I almost want to risk drawing a card to see if I get a fire and sword, but I don't know if I'll get one, so I'll play my thorn shields instead. And buy a mana. Now I might end up losing this because I'll probably use a pack rat to kill off the thorn shield and then play 3 rats this turn. In fact I will, because if they attack using this pack rat to kill this thorn shield, then they can attack for 12 damage plus whatever they play from their hand, so they'll probably play a couple of pack rats boosting these guys. Wow, that was really interesting. Because they could have actually won last turn, but whatever. And it's a little bit too late for this. But I'll play it anyway. That would have been really nice to have last turn. And unfortunately rats win. But there are severe flaws to the rat game. And a lot of people don't actually like playing against rats because there's absolutely no skill to them. So this isn't looking like a rat deck because they've got too many cards in their deck. And super early we've got a fire and sword, which would have been really nice in the last game. We've also got the Soul Eater, which is also a good counter for rats. So here I'm just considering, I could play Lilith this turn, but then I'll only have 4 mana for next turn. So what I might do is play my Soul Eater and buy a mana. And then that way I can play Lilith next turn, or my Fire and Sword. And in fact if they play a Rogard behind this Gorthog, which is what I think they might do, I'll drop my Fire and Sword to kill the Gorthog, which will more than likely attack my Soul Eater, and attack the Rogard to increase my mana 1. However, they may play an Ethereal Fairy, which will allow their Gorthog to kill my Soul Eater. Alternately, they could attack my Soul Eater and then play a Idara. So there's the Ethereal Fairy. That's fine because we'll play our Lilith, and we will use our Power Surge to buy our mana. So they're using Flashlight to kill off my Lilith. However, I'm going to play Lord Victus next turn. So there's our Lord Victus. Got a Soul Eater in our hand. We've got Lilith on top of our graveyard. So they're lacking the mana to cast a Hammer of Thor, and that play there was actually quite bad because we've got this Fire and Sword which we're going to drop, and we'll kill off their Gorthog, the Ethereal Fairy, and we've still got the health to kill their Roguard as well and buy mana. So if I didn't have my Fire and Sword in my hand, that probably would have been a really nice move from them. And of course, using Victus after my Fire and Sword, I've been able to boost and get my Fire and Sword back. So now I'll play our Soul Eater. And we'll chuck that behind our Victus. Buy a mana, and we will end our turn. What I probably could have done was moved the Victus to say where the Soul Eater was played, and then attacked, and then had the Soul Eater protecting the Victus, but in this case I've used their Slayer Weakling to kill the Soul Eater anyway, so it really wouldn't have mattered. So we've got to be careful now because they've got the 6 mana sitting there, so they can cast a Hammer of Thor. So what we'll do is we'll just play Gorthog, Lilith, use Power Surge once again to get that extra mana. And so basically the point in stacking our Gorthog and our Lilith like this is their Gorthog could attack our Gorthog, and even if it's a boosted Gorthog with, say, fairies, it's going to weaken their Gorthog. Our Gorthog may or may not die, but that's fine because then I can steal whatever with Lilith. And there's the Hammer of Thor that I was concerned about. So what we'll do is we'll draw a card, we'll draw another one, we'll buy a mana, and we'll God Supports Me. It would have been nice if we had our Lilith there, because then we could have killed the Idara, stolen that, and then used it to attack again with our Lilith. So now we've got a Thorn Shield. We'll whack them in front. We'll draw a card. There's another Lilith, that'll be nice. At this stage we're trying to get to about 15 mana so we can play a Dravron behind either a Lilith or a Thorn Shield to protect our Dravron from an immediate Hammer of Thor. So what we'll do this turn is we will draw a card and we will play a Fire and Sword just to reduce the amount of potential damage coming in. So next turn we've got 15 mana, so we will be able to play our Thorn Shield and our Dravron behind it. Actually, we'll play our Dravron early. We'll just try and draw the Hammer of Thors out. So they don't have a Hammer of Thor by the looks of things. Also, what I did earlier was I bought a mana and then I used my God Supports Me. Now they're in trouble because I know they didn't have a Hammer of Thor last turn. So now we're at max mana for buying mana anyway. We can still use cards like God Supports Me and our Soul Eaters. It's interesting that they're using wow, they just threw everything at getting rid of that Dravron. Good thing we've got another one in our hand and a Thorn Shield. Now of course we're holding on to these two Hammers of Thor because if they decide to play a Dravron as well, I'll just pop a Hammer of Thor. Remembering there's about 8 Dravrons and 8 Victus in this deck, and they've surrendered, so they are obviously trying to go for the early advantage, didn't quite pull it off, and as a result they have surrendered. We're still yet to get a turn 2 with the Power Surge in our hand straight away. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, they were playing a rat deck. I had a quick look at the amount of cards in the hand, and we're back up against the person we were up against last turn, and this time we get to see our Lilith come straight out. Of course, using God Supports Me to boost our mana for that turn. Now they may or may not play their Gorthog. There's a Gorthog. Oh, nice, and we've just got another Thorn Shield, which we can use with our Power Surge, so we'll do that. Buy a mana, play our Thorn Shield, and boost our mana again. We could have played Fire and Sword to kill the Gorthog, however there's not really much point in doing that. I mean, they may have Fire and Swords in this deck, which they may use now, because then they could kill off the Lilith and the Thorn Shield. So what we'll do is we'll say, sure, thank you very much, we'll take that Kavara. We'll play our Lilith, buy a mana. So even if they play, say, a Gorthog, what we'll do is we'll use Fire and Sword. We'll buy a mana and we'll steal the Gorthog. Next turn we'll be able to play our Victus. They may flash a light. There we go. So here comes Vic. Oh, we just drew another Lilith. But we'll play Victus and we'll buy mana, so that way we can start looking at dropping our Dravron. So there's Lilith back. We'll have 10 mana. We can play two Lilith. Or we can play our Dravon. Be interesting to see if they've got another Hammer of Thor in their hand. I hope they don't. Oh, they'll have a Adara? Yep, there we go. That's another way of getting rid of the Dravon. Is using Rogard and Super Pumped. And just what's out there in the strength of everything, it looks like we may actually lose this one. But that's alright, that happens sometimes. Playing the Kavara at the back just prevents Rogard from popping over the top. I was going to do it anyway, but that's alright. And there's the game. So the way that deck works is using Adara and basically just pumping up Rogards and using Gorthogs to protect them. So we've seen a couple of wins and a couple of losses with this deck. Overall I think it will work quite well when we have a look at it again. So again, using rares or better. Got a couple of Soul Eaters. We didn't get to see them use their ability at all, which is kind of disappointing, but that's alright. We've got Thorn Shields to try and basically use as blockers and also to deal damage to any unblocked creatures attacking. A handful of both Fire and Sword and Hammer of Thor to remove, basically have a bit of deck control and a bit of field control with them. Using Lilith mainly as our main creature to steal their cards and to deal some decent damage. Using Victus to cycle all our cards and our Dravon to deal major damage and to get those backline cards when they aren't getting picked off by supercharged Roguards and Adara. I have been Lost One. You've been watching Conjuror the game, and I'll see you next time with a new deck and some more gameplay.